Annie, welcome to Global Women Club. It's so great
Thank
to have you here.
It is truly, truly my pleasure. I love speaking about community, and even more in a community that is as strong as Global Woman and global everywhere all over the world. So I'm very excited to be here. And hi, Lona. And Lona has been messaging me excited about the masterclass. So I really want to thank her for supporting me even before I showed up here. Mwah. And hi, everyone as well who are here with us. I'd love to see you, if you can, if you're not driving, of course, with your camera on, because it makes it so much easier to see your beautiful faces from all over the world and really get a sense on whether I'm serving you with what I prepared.
Lovely, so wonderful. Absolutely. I think as we start our conversation, many more members will start getting ready, also putting the lipstick and makeup and get to communicate with you. And ladies, get ready, because at the end of the masterclass, you can also ask direct questions. So Annie, before we get there, let's get started, because I want also to provide a space for our platform that we make it public. And before we delve into what the community is and what the benefits of the community are, I would love to know a little bit more about you. What was the drive? What was the why that you were feeling guided and to follow this path? And now, look, you have achieved so much. You have, from a young girl with a big dream, now you have made these dreams come true, and you're still young and you're still in such a journey. So tell us a little bit, where did it start, and what's your vision for more?
Yeah, so I would say all started by the experience that has shaped me the most in life. So I'm the daughter of migrants, and that always meant that I found it a bit difficult to find my place in the world, because I was born in Albania, as Mirela said, and I was raised in Italy from a very young age. I moved to Italy when I was 1 year and a half. So when I was in Albania, I would always be called Italian, because my accent is very clearly Italian and all of my cultural references are from Italy. And when I would be in Italy, my name is Annie, which is a 100% Albanian name. My passport says that I was born in Albania. So there I was, in Italy, I was the Albanian, and in Albania, I was the Italian. And this always left me with a feeling of not belonging fully anywhere. And that also meant that it was a bit hard for me, as you were saying earlier, Mirela, in my immediate environments, in the town I was being raised, to really find my tribe. And I always found it like there was one person I would really connect to, but they would live 3 hours away. There was another person I would really connect to, but they would on the other side of Italy. And this was the beginning of internet, right? So we didn't have all of these ways of staying connected. And I always felt, why? I always connect with people who are not living where I am. So I started hanging out in forums online a lot. And I started feeling that in the online world, often I would indeed find people that would be more aligned with me than people that I would connect in real life. So long story short, my journey with community started because I received an invitation from a person that I had only seen online to join a global competition where they were selecting one representative of the millennial generation to basically travel the world and be in all the 5 continents for 1 year for free, working in social entrepreneurship project. And that for me was like a dream come true. And I joined this competition, and this competition was hosted inside of a community. At this point, I had just finished my degree in international relations in London. And I was feeling a bit cynical about the world, because I had learned all about power dynamics, and I really felt like the big dreamer in me that wanted to change the world was like stuck into these big systems that cannot be changed. But when I entered this competition and I really started participating in that community, a fire in me sparked. because I really felt like, oh my God, I found my people here. There are other people that think like me. There are other people that want to change stuff. There are other people that are interested in transformation. And I became so devoted to this community that I dropped out of the competition because they invited me to become the network manager instead. And I felt like this group of people that brought me back to life and had reconnected me to my value and passion, so much so that I was willing to give up my chance of traveling the world for free for 1 year just to serve them and be inspired by this incredible network of youth that I was meeting. So that's like the short story of how it started. That was 2013, my first job in community. And I never left the field since. So I've been doing community for over a decade, and it's definitely my passion and my source of inspiration in so many ways.
Well, you remind me that feeling that when you start doing something that you really love and you start getting paid for something that you love, you get like surprised. Oh my God, I don't know why do they pay me? I'm having so much fun. And especially if you are realizing that you're having fun by supporting people, by helping other people, by connecting other people, and you seeing all the resources that you also tap into being part of a community, that is so rewarding. And in fact, is it something that is a gift that some people have it, they're born with it, or is it something that everybody can develop and work through the journey?
Absolutely the second. Of course, there are some people who might naturally be inclined to creating relationships with more ease, or it just comes with their nature that they're maybe more outgoing or more people-oriented. But I have seen, actually, I have to say that probably the best, let's call them networkers or the best community builders, because to me, if you do networking right, it means that you're building a community. So the best community builders that I've met are actually people that consider themselves introverts.
Hmm. Who is
And
introvert in this chat, in this group? Put it in the chat. So yeah, you're saying that sometimes people say, oh, because I heard quite a few people saying, oh, I'm introvert. I can't attend events. I can't do networking. I can't go out there. But you're saying, yes, it is possible, especially if you get out of the comfort zone. Or what do we need to consider in order to find our tribe, in order to find our community? What it is it like we're looking for safety, or is it we're looking for connection, or kind of healthy boundaries, or bonding, or learning, or opportunities? So what people are looking for when they are searching for a community?
it can be an immense number of things. So I would say the first thing to remember when you want to create your own community, but you feel like maybe it's not your genius zone, is just remind yourself that you were born as a human, and every human in its nature has connection in the DNA. Like, we literally cannot exist unless we are part of an ecosystem. It's written all over our DNA that we are meant to be tribal creatures. We are meant to be living and developing and thriving in communities. So it's impossible that you cannot do it, because you were already born with this ability. And from the moment that we come into this world, we are, from the very first moment, dependent on the gaze and love of our parents or our caretakers to thrive. So from the moment you came into this planet, you knew how to do connections. The fact that you have survived and you've come until here, it's a proof of that. Why people choose to come to community? There are many reasons. I would say it depends very much on the type of community that one seeks to join. But to me, at the very core, there tends to be a desire for belonging. That was for sure my story. And if we look at what community means, it is very often in our history connected to a sense of belonging. There are other people that look for communities because communities provide them with information that maybe they cannot access anywhere, because they can have conversations they cannot have anywhere else. because they're looking for closer contact with experts that otherwise they wouldn't be able to connect to in the real world. And I think Global Woman offers a lot of this, because I'm sure you can have conversations in here that are not easy to have in other places, because you ladies would know this better than me, being a member for a long time, but it's not that easy to find people that are on your same wavelength, right? And even less people that share your wavelength and your ambition and are willing to really grow, like all of you here. Like, there's a reason why you're here. You're taking time out of your day to grow and to learn something new. So, and you get access to experts. And on top of it, my hope and my wish is that a lot of you have also found a sense of belonging by being part of this group, because you have found people that otherwise it would have been very hard to meet in your day-to-day life. So there's a number of reasons why, but for me, in my personal experience, yes, there are a lot of communities that are like forums, but I don't call those communities. They are forums where you can
Now
find
let's talk about the difference between a group of people and the community.
Oof.
Because
Well,
a group, like for example, let me give you an example. We went to a club, like a real club, like a private club, and I signed up for a membership. And one of the reasons why I really wanted that, sorry,
no
is
problem.
because I thought I can connect with people. I need a community where I upgrade myself.
Yeah.
I need to join a community where I can feel like I'm like-minded, but also I can up level, I can uplift, I can see myself growing and progressing towards the direction. So it's all about why do we join a community in general? It's like because we want to meet people who are better than us and we can learn. And it reminds me, when I was a child, my mom used always to tell me something. Always find your friend better than yourself. I don't know if somebody resonates with this. Always find a friend better than yourself. So I joined up to this club because I thought club means a community, and I go there and everybody's just having a coffee. You pay lots of money, but everybody's paying their own coffee or sitting in a table or working on their own. And I get out of my comfort zone and say, "Hi, are you part of this club? I'm a member of this club too." I said, "Yeah, okay. So how about we connect? How about we get to know each other?" I said, "Hello, excuse me? Yeah, what?" And I felt like, "Oh my God, what is going on here?" So somehow I have had these experiences where they made me feel like a fish out of water. And when I created the Global Women Club, I could see that women at the beginning, when they come, they would feel like, let me test the water first. Let me sense how is the situation, and then I will take some action. So nobody was taking any action. So I would go say, ladies, don't sit next to somebody that you know. Go and find somebody that you don't know. Go and hug a stranger. Go and communicate with somebody that you're meeting here first time. So the reason I'm bringing this is like, how do we make that difference between the community and a hub or a restaurant where it's a group of people, everybody's sitting in their own way?
Yes, I actually, Mirela, you're already spoiling part of my presentation for later, but
Okay.
tell you ahead of time.
You don't need to tell everything, but
no, I think there's a core distinction to be made that makes all the difference. Nobody can give you a community. Community is not something that you get. It's also not something that you can buy, even though a lot of people are selling community nowadays. What makes the difference and what makes a community is the fact that you participate in it. So the people like you who go and start creating relationships, that being the key word here. To me, a community at the core of it has the ability of creating relationships among the members. That's the difference between being on Instagram and being in a community. When you're on Instagram, you are having a one-to-one conversation with the creator of wherever you're commenting. But the people that are in your Instagram network are really having conversations with each other. They're not really, it's not a platform where you create connections with one another. Whereas when you're part of a community, the key part is participating. It's like thinking that someone is going to give you a husband or give you a boyfriend or give you a partner. You don't get them. You have to actively participate in the building of the relationship to say that you have a partnership or you have a marriage. And it's the same thing with communities. So that's the difference between being in a restaurant. In a restaurant, you don't participate. I would also say that there's another important difference. Communities that do their job well, and again, I make a distinction because today there are a lot of spaces that call themselves communities, but they're not one. They have created a mission that is bigger than the founder. It is bigger than just a transactional operation where you give me money and I give you the service. A community brings together people who share values and share a mission and get excited about creating relationships with other people that have the same values and the same mission in the world. So to me, the best communities out there, and Global Woman is definitely an example of that. They create a movement. And they gave a reason for members to participate, because it's not about your success, Mirela. For you, it's about the success of every person that is in this club. And it's also about you want to make sure that people meet one another, because you understand that if you bottleneck the potential of this community to what you have to give, it's going to be limited. But when you are creating connections among its members, like you do, because I've been at your event and I've seen that the first thing that you do is, have you ladies met each other? This is Annie and this is Lona, and you really should speak because of this.
Oh my God, Annie, every time I take their hand and I say, Annie, come here, Lona, come here, Maria, Sophia, meet this, she does this. I sometimes I mix their names up. And so you're saying something so powerful. Nobody can give you a community. You have to tap into it. But it makes a difference when you find, let's say, this community where you want to participate, a safe space where you feel that it's okay, even if you are feeling maybe that imposter syndrome, maybe you're feeling from the past that you're not ready, you're a little bit of shy. Or another thing which I believe is important in the community is the culture. How we create that culture where the members in the community feel safe, they feel liberated, they feel like themselves, they feel authentic, they don't need to play to behave for who they are not. So where do we see these signs? How do we test the water? So this is more for, let's say, the members. If you are a member of a community or you want to join a community, number one, how do you know it's the community you're looking for? And once you are in, how do you know that they are the right people that you are looking to connect?
Well, I think there are several answers to this. So what you were saying before is very important. I think you don't just, again, you don't just get your dream community, but you also create it when you are in it. And the first step belongs really to the individual, and it starts from us. And the first step is to be courageous. It's like, again, I want to bring back the relationship metaphor, because we can all relate to it. If you want to go out with someone, how vulnerable does it feel at the beginning when you put yourself out there and you ask them to come out with you? Or if whenever you are reaching out for something, it always feels vulnerable. In every relationship that you're creating, it takes a lot of courage. It takes audacity to say, I want you, I need you, or, I want to create something with you. So that's the first step. If you don't feel that courage in you, I would say get already over yourself, because no relationship can be built without that first initial step. You have to be found. You have to be willing to let people find you, right? And then I would say, how do you know that the place is safe for you, and how do you know if it's the right community? One, do you feel like the values that these people have? Read what they're sharing, look at their videos. Does it feel like they are embodying some qualities and some values that you also believe in? If that's a yes, then you're very likely in the right place. And whether it's safe or not, I would say, again, you can very clearly see it by how members communicate with each other. Do they celebrate each other, or do they tear each other down? Do they elevate each other, or do they criticize each other? Is it a space that when you show up, you get met with support, or is it a space where you have to put tons of masks in order to be accepted? If the second is the case, and you have to pretend to be someone that you are not, and it's completely far away from your essence, then clearly it's not the right place for you. I would say the real communities are also a place where you can show up without your masks on, and just trust that these people have your back, and you can see, just look at the interactions that they are having. And if you feel like the culture is a culture of celebration, is a culture of having each other's back, I would say it's safe enough for you to be courageous and to put yourself out there and really participate in the community.
And from your experience, Annie, because now you work with one of the best communities in the world, where they bring the best, and they also, not only they bring the best, but they guide their members to grow, to go through that self-development and progress in life. So as being part of this amazing community, and you have been growing with that in your journey as well, what are some secrets you can share with us, or what exactly you do to facilitate that love, that care, that culture, that beautiful atmosphere that members can feel they are in the right place? How do you facilitate that?
That's a great question. I think we are quite lucky in Mind Valley, because, and I believe that it's probably very similar in Global Woman, the mission of the company already attracts a certain type of people. So I very rarely had to take actions to moderate the community, because it's already in the culture of the company to inviting people who are really dedicated to their growth and to their transformation, and they're seeking for other people who also want the same. But I would say acknowledgement is one of the most important things I can advise for. When you see someone that is having a behavior in the community that you find beautiful, that you find inspiring, that is generous towards others, acknowledge that. Like, there's no thing that is more beautiful than catching someone when they're doing something right, and something giving, and something generous. So it's going to be quite easy to start seeing these people, because you can see that they are there to serve the group and not just to take something for themselves. That's something I really love. And then the other element I would say is also, when we're building a community, is to be very fierce with the boundaries of who we want to have in and who doesn't belong there. It's just as important to be clear of who doesn't fit in that community as it is to clarify who should be part of that community. So that's two things I believe are very important. Acknowledgement of the beauty that you see in the people that are making it happen, and really showcasing them as an example, and also fierce boundaries about, this is how we show up in this place. So people will know very clearly whether that community is meant for them or not.
Wow, amazing. I mean, they are lucky to have you, and it's such a rewarding thing for you as well to be able to give your gift and to pure love and to be there to support your own community. And this is what happens when you find something that you're meant to do, and when you find your path. And you're blessed to have found your path in such a short, in such a young age, because sometimes it takes forever. We try, we do it again, we try, we fail, we race again. And of course, you look, there are many times we change directions, and we realize that everything happens for a reason. But when you are part of a community, like-minded people who also are there to guide you, but also to give you a lesson, it's amazing. Wonderful. Okay, so what we are going to do now, Annie, and thank you so much. Before we start with your masterclass, what is your vision? How do you see? Because somehow I see the whole world as a global community. So how the world would change if we would have more communities who support each other, who are aligned with each other, who do not see the differences, or and also being in contradict if somebody is not looking like us. How do we bring more diversity into communities and still feel aligned? And what is your vision for the future?
Wow. I don't think anyone has ever asked me that question, but there are incredible things that happen when community is placed at the forefront of what we do. It's really, my experience for community is that it's the biggest engine of transformation you can find out there. End of the story. And if you want to change and transform, you cannot do it in a sustainable way if you're just doing it by yourself, because the environment that you're in, it's so much more important than the path that you are determined to take by yourself. So I think if the world had more communities, many things would happen. Number one, and this is scientific, and I'm going to share some of the data behind this in my presentation, we would literally be less sick. Isolation and this feeling of disconnection is making people sick. There's inflammation that happens in your body that is worse than obesity when you're feeling lonely and isolated. And someone in the chat, Kozer, said earlier that COVID really highlighted that, and it's true. So we would be more healthy. We would be more successful. We would be more successful because we would feel that more people have our back. We would feel that we are loved, that we're celebrated for. We would feel that we don't have to do this alone. And how many of us, and really, I look at each of you, my beautiful women that are here live with us, because a lot of the women and the most extraordinary women that I meet, they are forces of nature, but they have such a hard time letting support in. They have such a hard time receiving support. They feel like they have to hold the whole weight of the world on their own two shoulders, and this ends up completely destroying them in the long term. So how much more beautiful would it be if we knew from the start that someone else has our back, and they're not going to let us fail, because they're going to support us so unconditionally that we will become bulletproof. And I would also imagine that it would be a world where we are less superficial, where we realize that you were saying, how do we create more diversity? One of the things I love about the word community is that if you play with it a bit, you could imagine that what it really is common unity. And once you start really investing in relationship with people, and really participating as we were talking about earlier, you realize that as humans, on the surface level, we might be different, but there is so much more than we have in common than what separates us. And that can only happen when you let people in close and you start realizing that someone on the other side of the world with a completely different upbringing than you maybe felt the exact same pain that you did, maybe shared the exact same dream that you have, maybe had the same heartbreak that you did. And only knowing that there's this one person on the other side of the world that, even though they had completely different life circumstances, gets you. I mean, how incredible is that? That alone makes you realize that the differences that we create so much separation on are completely superficial, because once we get to the core, there is really so much more that we have in common, our common unity, than what separates us as humans. So that's, I would say, my vision. It would definitely be a much more beautiful world. Yeah.
That's so true. And thank you for sharing your perspective in such a wonderful way and very clear way to understand that, in fact, the part belongs to the whole. We are all one. And we can't expect that saying that, oh, if I'm good, who cares? In fact, everybody is impacting everybody.